Welcome back to the channel. This year, Manchester United versus Leicester match preview. Now, United have just come back off a very impressive win in the Europa League against Real Sociedad, winning 4-1. Despite the red card, I was really impressed with that overall performance, the link-up play, the chemistry, the patterns of play. United seem to be starting to turn a corner under Ruben Amorim. Now, as towards the end of the season goes, I hope we get more victories and we can stay a bit more consistent and rack up points and get us believing again for next season. Obviously, the Europa League is the main focal point for United's season. That is our golden ticket into hopefully getting Europe next season. However, we've still got to focus on the league. Now, obviously, if you was to ask me, would you kind of rotate in this game? I would. I wouldn't risk too many players. I would be hoping to give the likes of Chido Martin a game, maybe the likes of Aiden Heaven as well, who was really impressive against Real Sociedad. But as well, I look at it and I'm like, the Europa League is the major one. Now, it is international break next week as well, so maybe you can go out with a limp. Maybe you can give a few players a few minutes who wouldn't normally get a game in a game of this calibre. With the way we played against Real Sociedad, obviously we went 1-0 down due to obviously conceding a penalty, but we did really well to answer back, which United in previous years, Ruben Amorim said this in his pre-match press conference for this game, that so many times United have given up or not fought after going 1-0 down. They did after Real Sociedad. And that mentality change is maybe what could make United win more games. Because let's be honest, United have way more quality on the pitch than Leicester do. And I personally believe that United can definitely win 3-0. Against Leicester. I mean, Leicester are a decent team. Obviously, they're in a relegation. I think that they are going to get relegated. It's kind of looking quite like it's curtains for them almost when it comes to Southampton and Leicester. But Ipswich are kind of still fighting, but we're not here to talk about them. But Leicester have got something to fight for, let's be honest. They are going to want to try and get as many points as they can. But I just hope that United have got too much quality on the pitch for him. I am going for a 3-0 win. It's a late kick-off, and obviously it's the last game for international duty. So I'm just hoping that the players can leave on a high, and the players who are going into international duty can leave on a high and give the fans something to look forward to once international break returns. So, my predicted 11. It's kind of difficult to pick, to be honest, because there's been quite a few players that have impressed over the last few games. Now, stay with me when I say this starting 11. So obviously Andre Onana starts, no debate about him. Obviously the main goalkeeper. Biende is still not back. And would you start Biende in this game if he was fit? Maybe. But Ruben Amorim clearly backs Onana, so Onana it is. The back three is where it gets interesting because Aiden Heaven was brilliant against Real Sociedad. That was the type of performance we wanted. It was a bit shaky against the likes of Arsenal for that 45 minutes he did play for. However, I thought that he played really, really well. He played with authority. He played with confidence. He was well with his passing range as well. And with Ruben Amorim's system, that's kind of what you want from your distributing, ball-playing centre-back, especially from that left-hand side since we lost Lisandro Martinez to his ACL injury. So, Aiden Heaven's definitely one to consider for starting tomorrow. But for me, I would probably start him because, you know, he looks like he brings that balance. And Mazraoui's going to be playing at right wing back because Dorgu is still suspended for that red card he picked up against the Ipswich game. This will be his last game for suspension in the Premier League. So, for me, the back line will consist of Onana, Aiden Heaven, De Ligt, and I'm going to throw in Lindelof, personally. I was thinking Harry Maguire, but he's still coming back from an injury. And like I said before, with the likes of Ruben Amorim and his international break soon, he's not going to want to risk Harry Maguire just coming back from an injury. He'll want to spend another week with him throughout international duty to get him back on his feet. So yeah, I will go for that back line. As well, for the wing-backs, Mazraoui and Diogo Dalot as the left wing-back. I think that kind of picks for itself with Dorgu still being suspended. And the midfield too, Bruno Fernandes definitely needs to come in. But it's interesting who's going to be his partner because Ugarte is supposed to be back training. But whether you want to risk him or not is the question. But this would be Casemiro's fourth start in a row. And history repeats itself that Casemiro has been playing really well for the last 3 games, but is he going to be a bit of a liability in this game? And it's interesting because Casemiro looks really suited to playing in the Europa League at the moment, and he looks like he's playing really well in the league against Arsenal. He brings that calmness. He helps us slow down the game. So it's really a choice for Ruben Amorim whether who he picks. I mean, he could throw in Toby Collier, to be honest, but I doubt Toby Collier will start, so I think it is out of Casemiro and Ugarte. I am going to go for Casemiro based on the Harry Maguire theory about how Ruben Amorim's not going to want to throw in a player who's just come back from injury. I know he's back in training, but Ruben Amorim might bring him off the bench if Casemiro slows down in the first, let's say, if he slows down after the 60th minute or something. And the front three is where it gets interesting, because Garnacho and Xerxes, for me, have to start. Xerxes was brilliant against Real Sociedad. I think one of his best games in a United shirt. And Garnacho, playing off that right-hand side, he's looking like a different player. He's playing with creativity. He's playing with being more creative. He's got vision. He's still dangerous and direct. So you definitely keep them two. But it's the Rasmus Højlund and Chidi Obi-Martin debate once again. Who do you start against Leicester? Because Rasmus Højlund has now got, this will be Rasmus Højlund's 21st game without scoring if he fails to score tomorrow against Leicester, where Obi-Martin hasn't had a sniff since that Fulham game. And obviously he's not registered to play in the Europa League, and the Arsenal game was a bit too much of a bigger ask for him. But it is Leicester, and I feel like that with the opportunity Ruben Amorim is giving Aiden Heaven, you should give that to Obi-Martin as well. But that's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But yeah, I would personally start Chidi Obi-Martin, but I won't be surprised if he starts Rasmus Højlund. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about that predicted 11. But who's United's key player? Obviously, it's Bruno Fernandes. I mean, the captain has proper stepped up in recent times. He has been absolutely unplayable. He's been back to his best, and maybe playing a bit deeper has been better for him, because Bruno is a very chaotic player. He does like to move around in the midfield. He likes to ping the ball. He likes to drop deep. He likes to go forward as well. And the way that he's played recently, he has proven a lot of haters wrong, because Bruno Fernandes is a heavily criticised player. I don't know why. Maybe because the fans demand the most for him because he's the captain, or whether because he's the best quality version of a player in our team. But I feel like the pressure that he gets and the criticism he gets is completely unwarranted. He's absolutely the last player that deserves any criticism from the fan base. That's just my personal opinion, though, because with Bruno, you look at him as a player, and yes, he can be a bit, what's the word? Childish and petulant was the word I was looking for. He can be quite petulant, and he does misplace quite a few passes. But I'm not being funny. The guy scored a hat-trick against Real Sociedad. I don't care if two of them were penalties. They were massive, pressured penalties. And that finish for his hat-trick, Rasmus Højlund should be looking at him and being like, oh, that's how you score a goal. Can you teach me? Because Bruno Fernandes just hits it across the keeper, low and hard, and it goes into the back of the net and he wins his hat-trick. I mean, I'm not being funny, but Bruno Fernandes is probably the only player in the team that's playing with pure confidence. And you can see it in a bit of Joshua Zirkzee. You can see it a bit in Garnacho as well, and especially Rasmus Højlund. Our forwards are lacking confidence. And I feel like with the way that Ruben Amorim is getting the best out of the players at the moment, he needs to focus on his better players, and maybe this is where it comes back into starting Obi-Martin over the likes of Rasmus Højlund. Is Rasmus Højlund going to actually impact us and get us better? Because he played well against Real Sociedad, I'm not going to lie. He held up the ball a lot better. He got that assist for Diogo Dalot's goal to make it 4-1. But it's the output from up front. It's the shots on target. It's the confidence in front of goal, and it's lacking. And he's got a target on his back at the moment. He is in the graveyard shift, and you could say the lack of service he gets is a bit of an issue. But I just feel like that maybe a game on the bench for Obi-Martin might be actually better for him. Let him come off the bench and make a point. Because if I was in Rasmus Højlund's position, you're not scoring. You know that you're struggling at the moment with confidence. And maybe seeing a young player like Chidi Obi-Martin come out, start instead of you, it might give you that fire under your belly to be like, right, hang on a minute. I'm third choice striker here. Xerxes is starting in front of me. Obi Martin's now starting in front of me. Why am I now on the bench? And maybe that might reignite his flame, and he might actually gain a bit of confidence for it, and hopefully he gets a goal, because I want Rasmus to score. I think he's a brilliant player, and he has a lot of potential when he wants to be. But at the same time, you just look at him, he's so infuriating at the moment. He's weak when it comes to 1v1s. He goes down quite easy, and it just seems that every defender gets the better of him at the moment in time. And you can't be a successful striker, and you can't be the leading target man for Manchester United if you're losing to every battle to a defender and you can't get past him. You need to be averaging at least 1 or 2 goals every 3 games as United striker, in my opinion. Now, obviously, that's criticism towards Xerxes and maybe even Garnacho if you want to include it in the forward category. But as it stands for me, Rasmus Højlund's the main man up front for us. He's the one that we bought in for the most money. He's the one that is the main striker almost, because Xerxes isn't really a striker. Garnacho's a winger. So realistically, the only main striker United have is either Obi Martin or Rasmus Højlund. Now, for me, United need that mature and experienced striker to help us score goals and maybe take off the pressure when it comes to the likes of Xerxes and Højlund, and maybe even Obi Martin as well. But we haven't seen enough of Obi Martin yet to make our final decision on him. So we'll have to see what Ruben Amorim goes with the starting 11. But as it stands, I feel like that United can definitely win 2 or 3-0. I think a clean sheet's going to be quite important as well. Obviously, I know we're not that important when it comes to stat-wise and stuff, but I think maybe for the fans as well and for the players as well, for maybe their own, say, mental health and for their own confidence game, that keeping a clean sheet, which we haven't done in quite a while, could be quite important. Maybe just seeing off a game and defending well, but being strong and being strong up front when it comes to scoring goals and poaching Leicester's defence, because they haven't got a lot of quality. You know, Jamie Vardy's a Premier League great, a veteran of the Premier League almost, but there's not really a standout player in that Leicester side that I think they're going to cause us a lot of issues. There really isn't, and that's just my opinion. So, Leicester fans, I apologise if I've upset you, but I really don't care. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, comment down below your Predict 11 and score predictions for the game against Leicester, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.